Hello everyone, I'm Sam Mangoro. So 18 months ago, when I was 16 years old in secondary school, it was an average day and something happened that really changed my life forever. I was in a PE class at the Mountbatten School in Romsey. I was doing some warm-up exercises. We were playing basketball, and right after our basketball drills, I queued up with my classmates, getting ready for my turn to play. And then suddenly, everything went black. I woke up a few days later, and I was told what had happened. Before explaining what happened to me, I should tell you some background information about myself. According to my parents, the day that I was born didn't quite go as planned. My mum was rushed into hospital 3 weeks early, and I was born in an emergency cesarean section, and I was apparently showing signs of being in distress. However, after my birth, everything seemed normal, and I went home without any medical concerns. 10 days later, I was rushed back into hospital as a limp and lethargic infant, showing symptoms that something was seriously wrong. I had been refusing to feed all day, and I started turning blue. Apparently, my heart had stopped at some stage, and I went into multiple organ failure. But the medical experts were able to revive me. It was quite a traumatic night for my parents, and the odds weren't looking good for me. Cardiac doctors were called down from London. After working on me all night, they needed to take me to London where they had the specialist equipment. My parents were gently advised to say goodbye to me, as the chances of me surviving the journey from Worthing to London were very slim. The ambulance took me with a police escort. They didn't say goodbye to me. They never lost faith that I would be okay. The cardiac experts eventually diagnosed me with viral myocarditis. My parents stayed with me in paediatric intensive care at the Royal Brompton Hospital in London for a few weeks, until with the right medication, my condition eventually stabilized. My parents have often been told that despite being advised that I had a very slim chance of survival, the first time that they saw the pediatric cardiologist, upon discharging me weeks later, the doctors remarked on how incredible my recovery was. My heart was enlarged and scarred, and a scarred section of my heart wasn't working properly. I had dilated cardiomyopathy. Because of this, my parents had to give me daily medication and take me for regular checkups in London. At one of my first checkups, they were told by the age of 11, I'd probably need a heart transplant, as my heart might not cope with the pressure of my growing body. By the age of 11, I hadn't had a transplant, and I was off all of my medication, living a pretty normal life. My heart hadn't completely healed. In fact, the scarred area was still damaged from when I was 10 days old, and it still wasn't beating properly. But this didn't really have any impact on my daily life. Yeah, I would find it a bit tiring doing cross-country runs at school, but to be honest, I was never really a sporty kid in school. I don't remember ever feeling restricted or limited in any ways. I never considered myself to be sick. And apart from my now yearly checkups, I almost forgot that I ever had the condition in the first place. That was until 18 months ago. As I said earlier, everything went black for me in that PE lesson, and I had no idea what had happened until I woke up in Southampton General Hospital, and I was told by my family and doctors. They had to tell me a few times. Everything was a bit foggy as I recovered from 3 days in a medical coma. Apparently, during that PE lesson, I had simply collapsed, dropped down like a stone. The teachers rushed me into the recovery position and quickly recognized that this was more than just a faint. They knew that something was seriously wrong. My teachers realized that my heart rate was getting slower and my breathing was becoming very shallow. so they started giving me CPR and called for the school's defibrillator, which had only been bought a few weeks previously. When I spoke to my teachers after the event, they said that they had been very nervous about using the AED, but it was actually really simple, and it had very basic and clear instructions. In fact, after attaching the pads, it spoke to them to inform them that the heartbeat could not be detected, and they were told to administer a shock. This was definitely serious. Apparently, the AED shocked me 4 times before my heart finally returned to a stable rhythm, although I still was not conscious. By all accounts, it was a pretty big deal. There was an air ambulance sent to my school, which landed in the field, and there were 3 ambulance and police cars. My parents joked that I would have loved all the action. It was like something out of a movie, apparently. Actually, although I still wasn't awake when my parents got to the school, they said that they never doubted that I would make it through okay. They sat by my side for those 3 days in the ICU while my body was cooled with rods in my veins to reduce the risk of brain damage. I think it worked. I'm pretty sure I've got all my brain cells still intact. And they stayed with me for those days as I woke up and recovered from pneumonia, which was caused by the breathing tubes. On many occasions, the doctors told my family that the bystander care I had received was incredible, and it had given me the best chance of survival possible from my cardiac arrest. As I woke up in Southampton General, and I was given amazing care by the entire medical team, through all their tests and checks, they'd found that my cardiac arrest seemed to have been caused by abnormal heart rhythms relating to the scarring on my heart. I probably had these abnormal rhythms for quite a while, maybe even my whole life. And apparently, lots of people have undetected and undiagnosed abnormal rhythms like this. Anyway, mine certainly seemed to get worse after my cardiac arrest, which put me at risk of having another cardiac arrest. So, they fitted an ICD into my chest for me, which actually did shock me about 7 months after it was fitted. My mum calls it my guardian angel. Since then, however, my cardiac function has improved and things are looking up. I haven't had any episodes since then. I'm at college studying media and I'm really enjoying life. I hang out with my friends and do normal teenage stuff, really. And some not so normal teenage stuff like this. When I was in hospital, I was told how fortunate I was about that my school had a defibrillator. And I learned that people don't realize that there are many people who don't realize they have heart conditions and how many young people die from sudden cardiac arrest that could be saved. It made me think about what I could do to help. So I spoke to the medical staff at Southampton General, especially the ambulance crews and resuscitation team, who gave me some excellent ideas. Along with my friends and family, I decided to start a campaign with the aim to make defibrillators compulsory in schools and raise money for more AEDs and CPR training. To share my story whenever and wherever I could to raise awareness of the importance of the life-saving skills and equipment. That's where the All Heart campaign came from. To date, we have made thousands of people aware of the issue that they had never considered before. We've raised around £3,500 and placed 2 defibrillators in schools and are well on the way to raising enough money to register as a charity and place many, many more defibrillators in schools, and I plan to encourage more CPR training. For me, it doesn't stop there. I've met far too many people in the last 18 months who have very opposite stories to mine that did not end so well and are campaigning because they've lost loved ones due to cardiac arrest. Because of that, I will keep campaigning until these statistics change and more lives are saved. My family will always call me their miracle baby. I believe in miracles. Through all I've been through in my life, It was the intentions and actions of other people that allowed me to be here today, sharing my story despite the odds. The school administrators who made the decision to buy the defibrillator that restarted my heart. The teachers who performed the CPR and used the defibrillator. The paramedics who responded so quickly. The doctors and nurses who cared for me. And the scientists and technicians who invented all this equipment, all the medical equipment that played a part in my journey. I could go on and on. I believe in miracles, but I believe people make miracles happen. People like you. People whose intentions, actions, and decisions every day save the lives of others. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of them, and each and every one of you. And I want to be part of someone else's miracle. Thank you for listening.